open the meeting and approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Yep.
Has everyone had a chance to look at them? Something has changed, I guess, since the last time, in that they changed from the faux blocks on the carriage house to to clapboard, but other than that, the minutes look fine to me.
Same. I to approve them.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't know if I
Okay.
vote since I wasn't there, right?
That's probably correct.
Probably right, okay.
That makes sense to me.
It would, yeah, that does me too.
I think I walk by it almost every day. I think the carriage house looks pretty good the way that they put it back together.
Terrific.
It does.
Very nice.
They were
I
so
love the way,
excited.
Save them a
Really?
lot of money too, I think.
yeah. And I love the way they're documenting the process and the photographs they've taken of the stages and the underpinnings.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
Very surprising there was never any photographic evidence of what it looked like before.
I tell you, we searched and searched, and it must have gone on fairly early,
Mm-hmm.
in my guess, because and every single photograph has that on it. But the
Well-
photograph probably, they're 18, the earliest might have been 18 in the 60s, probably more like 75, 80. So it was, by then it was pretty old, a pretty
Yeah.
old building.
And the faux stone blocks, Lisa Dunn told me they used them at Mount Vernon, so they were used at Mount Vernon as well. So I guess it's probably before the 1860s or whenever we started getting photographs of Cohasset.
Right, yeah, we don't have many that early, one or two, I'd say.
Well, while we're waiting, let me ask a question. What happens, or what's the procedure on this committee if somebody, for example, me, wants to do a couple things in their yard and wants to confirm that they are not covered by this committee? Or I guess maybe they are. Do I just email you, John? Are you at liberty to approve that? Or does that require a full meeting?
I think that, yeah, I mean, I could sign a certificate of non-applicability. I think in the past, when you've talked about this stuff, you've given us a preview, and I think it's fair to do a preview, and this is a public meeting now with the town recording it. So even though it's not on the agenda.
While we're killing time, let me ask the two questions. I think one I might have mentioned before, if I put up a flagpole behind my house, immediately behind it, would that be should I put it in an application?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Depends on what flag you're going to fly.
Only the American. And similar if
And will it shade Jane's house? How big is it?
it'll only shade my own house.
50 by 100, like one of those auto.
Like a car
Yeah.
salesman? No.
Yeah.
And then similarly, if I wanted to put up a grape arbor in my yard, this one would be closer to you, Jane, but would be basically 4 wooden posts and some toppers. Would that be in the purview of this committee?
Is it visible from the common, or?
No, I don't think so. Behind a hedge, behind a grove of trees.
That's not anything that's not visible from the common. We don't have any jurisdiction over. Remember when Rick Toll added the little porch on the back of his house? I mean, if the leaves were just off of the hedge and you peeked through the right hole in the hedge, you could see it. But I think we determined, that was several years ago, probably 5 years ago, determined that was not visible from the common.
Okay, well, thank you. I always want to ask because, in January when the leaves are off, you do
Mhm.
sometimes get a glimpse of things otherwise not visible. Has anybody heard from Montana?
No,
Okay,
and
let's
I
see.
left my phone downstairs. I'm gonna run and grab it, and hopefully that will ensure that she joins the meeting before I get back.
Alex, it's Michelle. So can I turn over hosting abilities to you for this meeting? So I can hop
Sure.
on select board, or is there someone else that you prefer host the meeting?
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
I'll call her. Hi, Montana. This is John Coffey calling. We had a Cohasset Common Historic District Commission meeting tonight at your request, and we're on the Zoom call. It's about 10 after 7, and we'll wait, I guess, about 5 more minutes to see if you can join us. Thanks. Bye. All right, we'll see how that goes.
Can we proceed to discuss it without her, or is there no point?
Again, I guess because it's being recorded, we know what generally what the request is. I actually think we probably ought to wait for her.
Fine.
In case we say no,
Hmm.
she might want to hear the entire discussion.
Was an application submitted or just
You know
the
what?
email with the pictures?
Yep, she did not submit an application. This is just in general, I still need to have a conversation with Chris Senior. These are the types of things that come up because Chris Senior suggests, oh, well, why don't we do this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, he never really takes into account, any other committee's jurisdiction over these decisions. She did call me, which, I appreciated. I would say this, there are multiple things on the common that are not made out of wood, and they just show up. Like, for example, the picnic tables, near the church, St. Stephen's Church. And then there are on whatever the lane is that's called in front of Town Hall. There are multiple tables there that are rather modern looking.
Yep.
And not wood, I don't think, but the inorganic material that they're made out of looks somewhat resembles wood.
Yeah,
I had, oh, go ahead.
I made a point to kind of go around today and look at everything that was on the common, kind of wondering, especially about the tables on that lane. It looks like, or maybe I'm wrong, they are leftovers from farmers market. I think sometimes they come in for that, and I don't know if they ever go away.
Yeah.
But they're just sort of randomly plopped on the common.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other bench, the bench that's there, that doesn't match, does it? The ones on the other side? Similar
No.
in appearance, but it doesn't match.
No.
Correct.
So an effort wasn't really, I don't know if an effort was made or you just couldn't do it at the time, but there's just, and those tables, I guess, which are used all the time, the one down at the far end that were red and now are black. I mean, I see people sitting there all the time, but
When they put them in during COVID, though, it was with
Right.
the understanding that it was temporary. And
Yeah, was
somehow
it?
they've become permanent.
right.
Oh, I think we did vote on those though. I remember, so they were moved down from the Deer Hill for COVID, and then didn't they ask us about them afterwards? And that's when they changed the color. Am I remembering that?
Yeah, no, I think you're correct, Joy.
I must have missed that meeting.
Yeah, I think before you, and it felt not a lot like asking us, but at least they made better color.
And I don't know about the half picnic table things that sit next to that lane. I don't know where they came from or how long they've been there. I mean, I've noticed them for quite a while, but it just never even registered to me. It
They
looks
look
like the town of Cohasset has dropped off.
Yeah.
They announced that they had made, I think I'm the MC of the Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah,
but they're recording it.
Yeah.
It's still being recorded.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, as a general, I don't know, can we discuss this or are we gonna just wait? Because I don't think
Um,
she's coming.
Yeah. Well, I guess, that's not our fault. And, go ahead. Just anyone want to chime in with their thoughts?
Well, it seems to me that we need consistency in design and in placement, and none of that has happened. And so I think we need to be firm, take a position, because it's going to continue to happen. We're going to have things showing up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's starting to look a little bit ragged because of that. So my
Agreed.
position would be that we need to ask for a single design that we can approve, and that everything that's seating oriented on the common needs to go with that design.
Yep, that's exactly how I feel. We need a plan and we need an approved thing. And if people want to donate something, or if somebody wants to put something on it, it has to be what we've already approved.
Yeah.
Doesn't start looking such a hodgepodge.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just looking at the email originally sent, which I assume everybody has, with the picture of the existing and then the proposed replacement.
Yes.
And they definitely do not match. And so one new replacement and then however many existing in the that remain, it would definitely, I think, stand out as a hodgepodge.
And is she saying she'd rather do it with this artificial material because there's no maintenance to the benches that are on the common, and that's why
The genesis of this is I think she runs the sustainability efforts for the town, and I guess somehow the number of plastic bags we've saved, could or equate to the amount of plastic used in this bench. And so she has a free bench coming to her through taxpayers' largesse.
Beware free gifts.
And she went to Chris Senior to say, hey, what can we do with this? And he said, well, why don't you go around town and find any benches that are in disrepair and come back to me and tell me where you think we ought to put it. And she liked the one next to the frog pond or duck pond, whatever you want to call it. There are actually two next to that duck pond that are consistent in design and materials. And she wanted to replace one of them. And he also said, well, why don't we also put a plaque on there saying it's from the Sustainability Committee? I told her that, we generally, had not in past precedent, not approved anything that had a plaque on it. We did have, I don't know if Alex, you may have been on the committee then. This was back when Nick Noon and what's his name? The guy that started this committee 50 years ago.
And Stevens.
Yeah, Gordy Stevenson.
Yeah.
Gordy was chairing the committee, and they recalled the bench that went in next to the flagpole, the memorial bench with the names on it, and that was apparently a real controversial situation at the time. So before I moved to Cohasset, and certainly before I was on this commission, and their desire to avoid putting names on anything out there. We'd had a proposal from the senior center. The senior center wanted to put benches out there, pay for benches to put out there so people could listen to the carillons, I guess. But they wanted to put senior center, plaques all over them. or on them. And we rejected that in the meeting. And I told her, like that was many years ago, but we were not favorably disposed to that. And that I thought there might be better places in town to put a bench that doesn't look like the existing benches. Did she really want to go through this meeting? And she said she did.
Yeah.
And of course, she's not here.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of other even more appropriate places to put it, like schools or playground places where, the sustainability message might, resonate a little bit more, or maybe the senior center needs
Mhm.
bench. I feel like schools
Yeah.
for the playgrounds might be a terrific, spot. They're redoing some of that stuff if it gets voted this next town meeting. So maybe put her in that direction. I don't know.
Okay. Does any,
Yeah, no, I just want to also say, whenever you put a plaque on anything, it's really sticky for the future too. Because
Mhm.
Yes.
you're basically saying this is in perpetuity, and that's kind of hard to tie up for for a long time. So you try to, I would say we keep that, keeping away from plaques if we can.
It becomes, then someone wants to donate a memorial bench or something like that, and we end up with a memorial garden at the
Mhm.
common as opposed to a
Type thing.
colonial, pre-colonial fixture of the town.
Right, right. Well, I'm going to move that we reject the application.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll communicate with Montana, and then I'm also going to communicate with Town Hall and try to understand where these other benches have come from, and tell them that, this is, this vote tonight is, we're attempting to create a policy that avoids these sorts of things popping up on our agenda as well as on the common.
Good, that sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
All right.
Bye
Thank
all.
you.
Do we have to
Bye.
adjourn?
Oh, yeah, Alex,
Oh,
sorry, go
move-
ahead.
Move to adjourn?
Oh, yeah.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Good night.
Bye all.
Bye.